I want to come to Vrinda Swarup, your former Special Secretary, Department of Education and Literacy. Ma'am, the NCERT textbook writing process presumably involves various people. Can we hold one person responsible? And this is a government body, and this is a government that looks very closely at every word. So who is to be held accountable, if at all, in case, as the judges are now saying, that this is unacceptable and there must be accountability? Who's accountable for writing the NCERT textbooks, ma'am?
So just three quick points on that, Rajdeep. One is that the NCERT is the body for writing the textbooks, and they had, from when I was secretary in the Department of School Education and Literacy, and my experience there has been that they were actually a very diligent body and traditionally been so. And there are layers and layers of scrutiny which are carried out before the textbook is actually released for use. So
Hmm.
there's there are the textbook writers, then there is the department which is in charge of that particular subject, and then they have an editorial board, and then there's an institutional scrutiny. So there are lots of layers which. So I'm a bit surprised that something like this has gone through. But the second point is that when you draft and you put together textbooks for students who are elementary education level, this was class 8, you normally don't introduce any kind of judgmental or such provocative words. You stick to what is the
Hmm.
nature of the subject, the facts, the context. In this case, it was
Hmm.
obvious that, and it is there in that chapter also. I've read that chapter. So, so that is where you go, and you basically are giving a young, vulnerable student the right kind of knowledge
Hmm.
about his constitution, her system of governance in the country,
But
etc.
but 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 ma'am, ma'am, I take your point. You're saying these are vulnerable minds, but the court's order then sets a precedent that could discourage textbook authors and educators from addressing sensitive topics
No, but
like
let me
corruption
tell you
in
the
public life.
third
I
point.
come back to
My
it.
third point.
What is this political hot potato?
Now,
Corruption
so
is an
the
open secret, unfortunately, in this country. Shouldn't the young know about it?
So the third point which I was making was that you have these textbooks which are in a certain sense bland and factual and contextual. But the pedagogy of teaching is where you interrogate issues, where you give that student a context which is of maybe
Hmm.
discussions like this, but they have to be contextualized, they have to be led in a certain direction, because I reiterate, an elementary school kid cannot be given a hype. He or she has to be given a context. There are challenges in every system, any arm of governance. So there has to be a contextualized discussion led, so that what is the
Right.
purpose? The purpose is that she
Okay.
absorbs, that student absorbs what is the
I
scenario of the
I take
constitution.
your point, ma'am.